you put into this project. And I'll read your bio and get things started. We always kick off with Michael to start the evening. So after spending 30 years in Scotland, Michael returned to Canada in 2017 to write about his adventures. He's an award-winning short story writer and oral storyteller who has also helps people create end-of-life plans and legacy letters. Sorry.
That's fine. That's great. I don't need any more than that.
Great. What are you reading for us tonight?
I'm going to read you a story which I was just speaking to Dan before we started, that has been edited. I think there might be a few tiny little tweaks I'll do to it, but it's a true story, as all my stories are. And this happened, the events took place before I went to Scotland, so it'll just speak for itself. Yeah. A packed nightclub, standing room only, bright lights. I'm sweating, my t-shirt is drenched. Tommy, the band's leader, turns and nods. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. He raises his trumpet and blows the opening bars to When the Saints Go Marching In. Beside me, Eddie starts thumping out the rhythm on the bass. Boom, 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 boom. I'm sitting behind the drum kit, drumsticks in hand, my heart's pounding, the music swells, my body screams, stop! I can't do this. I don't know how to play the drums. A half hour earlier, my friend Ken and I had walked into this club to enjoy a night of hot Dixieland jazz. We sit down at the last available table, order a couple of cold beers, and are chatting away, waiting for the band to begin, when an older gentleman stops at our table. He greets Ken, recognizing him as a fellow musician. Ken turns and introduces Eddie, the band's bass player. As we shake hands, Ken explains that I'm the grandson of the late Ron Wicken, one of Hamilton's well-known big band leaders from days gone by. Eddie's face lights up, a look that speaks of brotherhood and unity among musicians. Your grandfather was a great drummer and band leader, Eddie says. He gave me his first job. He was a good man. As Eddie walks back to the stage, I think of those days when we would visit my grandparents, and I'd sit for hours listening to Granddad play his Dixie records, citing names like Louis Armstrong, Jack Teagarden, Jimmy Dorsey, and Duke Ellington. I recall too the Friday and Saturday nights our parents would take us to the dances at places like the Brant Inn in Burlington, Prudham's, and the Royal Connaught Hotel in downtown Hamilton, where hundreds would gather to dance to the Ron Wicken Orchestra. My recollections are interrupted when Eddie reappears at our table. I've spoken to the boys in the band, he says, and we'd be honored if you'd sit in with us and play drums. But I'm not really a drummer. Nonsense, Eddie chortles. Come on, the boys are dying to play with the son of Ron Wicken. While I'm being abducted, it dawns on me that Eddie has mistaken me for my uncle Ron Wicken Jr., the son who used to play drums in my grandfather's band. I'm the grandson, but it's too late. We've reached the stage. The band's drummer hands me his drumsticks and tells me how proud he is that I'm sitting in for him. Why don't I run, you're probably thinking. Believe me, I thought about it. But maybe it was because Tommy, the band's leader, is announcing to a crowd overflowing with enthusiasm that a special guest is joining them. I'm like a deer in the headlights. I can't move. Besides, I'm too afraid to run away in front of everybody. Instead of bolting, I take the sticks. I sit down on the stool behind the drum kit. I spot a pair of brushes and think that they will make less noise, and I exchange the sticks for them. I have to look like I know what I'm doing. Oh my God, everybody's eyes are fixed on me. Someone, please, please help me. The band's about to play. And then out of the depths of the past, a memory emerges. I see my granddad. I remember sitting on his knee as a kid behind his drum kit in the basement of his home. Grandpa, how do you play drums? I ask. He laughs and says, it's easy. All you have to do is remember boom chink. He illustrates the phrase with a downbeat on the bass drum with his left foot, followed by stepping down on the hi-hat pedal with his right. Boom, chink, he explains, repeating the foot movements. Like walking, he says, although the way he exaggerates his movements with me on his knee, it feels like riding a camel. Of course, then, I no more imagined I'd ever ride a camel than I would play drums in a Dixieland band. I hear my name. Are you ready? Tommy winks. Here we go, boys. He raises the horn to his lips and blows the opening to When the Saints Go Marching In. I wait a bar or two, moving my body into the rhythm. Oh my God, Grandpa, help me. Boom, chink, left leg, right leg, boom, chink. Eddie thumps out the rhythm on the bass. I follow his lead with my feet. Boom, chink. Tommy blows a hot, cool lead, followed by Chris on the clarinet. By the time Jimmy slides in on the trombone, the adrenaline is pumping through my veins directly down to my feet. I risk a few flourishes with my brushes on the snare drum and the tom-tom, and a rascally crash on the cymbal. And all the while, my feet keep marching. Boom, chink. Tommy brings the song to an end with a flourish. The audience erupts into applause and wild whoops. They're drunk, I think, but I'll take this victory and run. I put the brushes down, thank the band, only for Tommy to order me to sit down and get ready for Sweet Georgia Brown. Sweet Georgia Brown. Oh no, I can't stay here, but there's no escape. Feeling lightheaded, I pick up the drumsticks. If I'm going to go down in flames, I say to myself, I'm going to go down with drumsticks in my hand. Grandpa would be proud of me, and Sweet Georgia Brown, whoever she is. Boom, chink. My feet walk the rhythm. My arms spring into an improvised sleight of hand of their own over the snare drum, the tom-tom, the cymbals. I mean, it's more of a kind of child's play than drumming, but it seems to be working. Grandpa, look, I'm playing drums in a jazz band. And remarkably, I finish in the right place. Again, the audience bursts into applause. They're stamping their feet, calling out for more. I'm shaking. I must escape before disaster strikes. This time, I'll just walk away. Or do I? Once again, Tommy insists I sit for one more number. This time, he announces Maple Leaf Rag. Rag, I think. Ragtime. Will Boom Chink even work? Please. Oh, Grandpa, what do I do? And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of Ken in the shadows, leaning back in his chair, eyes wide, his mouth open. Behind him, I see Pete, the drummer, standing by the bar, whispering to the woman at his side. I'm sure he's exposing me as a musical imposter. Fortunately, Maple Leaf Rag is another 1-2 rhythm. Boom, chink. Ah, feet, don't fail me now. Boom, chink. How long can I keep this up? I feel like I'm on one of those roundabouts going faster and faster. Boom, chink. Crack down on the snare drum, bounce across the tom-tom, swipe the cymbals. There's no time to think about what I'm doing because I'm doing it. Or am I? In the midst of my boom chinks, an arm reaches out and grabs my left wrist and holds it for a second before letting it go. I turn. Eddie's expression reveals the error of my ways. I've fallen out of the groove. My boom chinks have become chink booms. Oh, I'm sure I've nearly derailed the band. Everyone must know I'm a phony. The blood rushes to my face. I want to crawl into the back of the bass drum. I want the floor to open up and swallow me. I want the building to collapse. But I manage to get back on track and finish the song. The audience goes wild. Tommy milks their appreciation further by asking the audience to give me a really big hand. Let's hear it, he shouts, for Michael Williams, son of Hamilton's own Ron Wicken. I don't bother correcting Tommy. If he believes I'm the son rather than the grandson, so be it. Who am I to quibble? I turn to the rising tide of people, many of them on their feet, and manage a half wave of recognition of their appreciation. In the midst of the tumult, Tommy turns to salute me. I hand the sticks back to Pete, who seems eager to resume his place. I was worried you'd put me out of a job, he laughs. I'm about to turn and walk away for good when Eddie calls out. He's smiling. Hey, kid, he says, winking. You did good. I slip back into the shadows. As I sit down, I expect Ken to make some sort of sarcastic remark like, "What the hell were you thinking?" Instead, he leans in, throws his arm around my shoulder, and says, "Christ, I didn't know you could play the drums." "Guess I had a great teacher," I say, choking on tears of relief. Ken raises his glass. "Well, here's to Ron Wicken, Hamilton's greatest drummer and big band leader. And my granddad," I add, with a heart full of pride. Boom chink, Grandpa, boom chink.
Thank you, Michael.
Well done,
So
Michael.
was that based on a true story?
Absolutely, absolutely. Every detail is absolutely true. Yeah, and I don't know how. I mean, I swear to this day that the spirit of my granddad was in that room and came to my rescue. You call it maybe luck if I'd gotten through one song, extreme luck to get through 2 songs, but 3 songs, I mean, really. And I didn't completely get through it, but credit to the band for not exposing me as a non-drummer. So,
do you drum still? Do you play?
No, I don't. No,
No?
I mean, I play guitar and I play ukulele, as Sue knows.
Ah.
But I do not play drums. But maybe I should.
I hear a duet in the future.
Yeah. Well, we have actually, Sue and I have duetted before.
She's freaking out.
No, we
She's
have duetted in Burlington. Yeah, at different books or at what? Yes.
Michael's a great singer. He's a crooner.
Oh, have you guys sang together?
Yes.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. I've heard Sue sing, but I've not.
Oh,
heard
she's a
you
great
sing
singer. Yeah.
She is a great singer. Yes.
I might be good, but she's great. But it's like drumming, it's just like my philosophy is just say yes to things. But that there was no escape for me there. It was a case of mistaken identity, and I got dragged up to the stage. And when you're in front of hundreds of people, I mean, honestly, it was literally one of those things. It was more embarrassing to run away, other than just try it. Just try to sit down. I mean, anyway, I did it.
What type of music are you influenced by? Is it jazz or?
Well, we grew up on jazz because of my grandfather. That was really the first music that I heard as a kid, were all his big band music and jazz records and New Orleans jazz, Dixieland jazz. But he was a big band leader, so bands like Tommy Dorsey and Artie Shaw, Glenn Miller, and that kind of stuff. But in his day, I mean, Grandpa had his own Saturday nights radio show on CHML, which was broadcast, went out across the nation in those days. So, but when you're a kid, you don't really appreciate that your granddad's well known, but I guess I always admired him because everybody seemed to love him. And I mean, and there were literally hundreds of people that would turn up at these dances. And because my parents couldn't afford babysitters, my brothers and we just got to run around all the hotel and places like the Brant Inn. So I'll save it for another day, but I have another story. One night, Grandpa came home on Christmas Eve, and a man came in with him wearing a Santa hat. My brother and we were just very young. I was maybe 8, maybe 9 years old, and my brother was probably 4 or 5. We were sitting on the top steps. We thought it was Santa Claus, and it was my granddad had brought home. It was Louis Armstrong. His band had backed him up out at the Brant Inn, and this would have been about 1960, 59 or 60, maybe even 61, but right around that time. And we can remember, and we thought Louis Armstrong was Santa Claus, and we asked him. We said, "Are you Santa Claus?" And he said something like, "Yes, child, I am." And they laughed and laughed, and then my grandpa, told us to get back to bed and not tell anybody. But I've written that story too, and
that's a great story. Yep,
so.
should read that next time if you can for us. That would be awesome.
Anyway, thanks for letting me share it.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Thank you. So our next reader is going to be Laura Lane. She's from Font Hill. She's Canadian author, poet, and flash fiction writer. Laura Lane has used her diverse life experience and travels to influence her writing over the last 2 decades. Her publishing credits include her award-winning poetry, Songs of the Street Poetry Anthology 2002, to her short stories, A Rising Hamilton Mountain Writers Guild, Volume 3, 2019, The Voice of Pelham, 2020, Flash Fiction Fridays 2020, to her nonfiction work, Two Mothers, One Prayer, Facing Your Child's Cancer with Hope, Strength, and Courage 2015. Laura balances her left brain with the right, mixing bookkeeping, taxes, and financial statements with poetry, writing, and art. She lived by her computer, conquer her fears by skydiving, and dreams of canoeing on the lake or reading books under the trees. So welcome, Laura. What are you reading for us tonight?
So I'm going to read a couple of poems. The first one is called Dishes.
Great. Whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Today, my dishwasher became a dish dryer as my husband creatively used the rack to stack the freshly washed dishes. A huge reminder that we can't afford repairs or a new one. It doesn't fit in our new ultra conserve on everything skinny jeans type budget. And he doesn't like it. I made him wash dishes by hand, the first time in 10 years. And I don't have the energy to say thanks. Thanks for something that I have done for years without anyone asking, except when someone says, Mom, there's no clean dishes. We're out of glasses. I can't find a fork. So I unload the dishwasher everyone sees filled and load it up with 3 more loads that day. But now that it's broken, I don't want to be stuck with one more thankless job of washing glasses as well as pots, spending hours at the sink, seeing splash marks on the tiles like little eyes peering at me, guilting me into seeing one more thing I don't have time to clean. My hands getting repeatedly burned and then frozen when I can't get the temperature right, reaching into an overflowing sink, spilling over like waves over the breakwater of a kitchen counter, flowing like Niagara Falls over the edge and onto my feet. I hate that. Not noticing until I'm already wet, my socks dripping, torn whether I should just leave them on to mop up the next spill I know will happen minutes from now. My hands are prunes, and if I'm not careful, buy the wrong dish soap, they'll be dry and hurting me hours from now. It's always so hard to know when to pull the plug. The water is still warm, but it's gross with grease and goop that was once somebody's soup because they forgot to rinse the bowl before throwing it in the sink or stacking more bowls on top, concealing the mess. Just like that pile of dirt that accumulates under the carpet because no one wants to get the dustpan out. And I know because sometimes it's me. I hate to stoop and prop the stupid broom against my shoulder while holding the too small dustpan that won't stay flush with the floor, letting the dust and the sand and the tiny particles escape and hide until you pull back an inch over and over and over and 6 more times till I just don't care anymore and leave that last little bit to get blown away as soon as someone opens the back door. If I could, someday I'd fly away, pretending to be a little sparrow, flitting about unobtrusive with a happy little chirp. Instead, I'm staring out the window into the neighbor's yard while my shirt gets wetter and wetter, pressed up against the counter, stopping the water from reaching my sopping wet feet. Trying to decide, is the water warm enough to do one more pot, even though I haven't seen a single bubble since 3 pots ago? And that's why tonight I said, enough is enough. Everyone has to have a turn. And he doesn't like it. Because I should have said that 10 years ago. Let's do this together. When love was so strong, he'd do anything for me. But love is quieter now, more routine. Lovely, but routine. That wasn't what he signed up for. A wife making him do dishes once a week. He likes his cushy spot on the couch. He probably thinks, let's not rock the boat. Maybe tomorrow I'll thank him when I go to inspect the work he's done and overlook the spots and the things I'm sure he's left behind for me to do. I guess that's what I signed up for. Thank you. So this one's called Ferry Crossing. In the cold, we sat huddled without speaking, grim, desperate for a sense of control, holding onto rails and, more importantly, the contents of our stomachs that sloshed around like wine in a glass as we tipped to one side then another. The wind, like a drunken sailor, the wind caressing our faces as we peered at the horizon through the fog, searching to find the one thing that would steady our world and settle our stomachs. At the back of the ferry boat, the motor thundered and the waves behind us in our wake crashed over and over and over again. But at least it's not raining. The foghorn blasting us awake and intruding on our thoughts. There was no need or desire to speak, even about the mundane, the trivial, or the weather. We were all too focused on releasing ourselves of the constant, unending nausea that threatened to burst forth the contents of our stomachs at any moment. The wind and the chill in the air, a slap in the face, shocking us to attention, rooting our senses to ultra alertness. A minuscule sense of control in this topsy-turvy voyage. While those inside would spill themselves food and bile, we prided ourselves on being stronger, smarter, outwitting the sea, only because we were willing to submit ourselves to the elements, tossed to and fro in the tempest, yet maintaining our self-respect. And I have one last one. The Wife of Dorian Gray. The wife of Dorian Gray, who would she be? What if Dorian Gray had taken himself a young bride in his quest to claim beauty for himself? If opposites attract, would she be the perfect timid little wife, or homely to his beauty, chaste and virtuous to his carousing? Would she be more like his picture, graying and aged with time, no longer the wife of his youth? Or does she juxtapose herself to the painting in the attic? Does she in fact age beautifully? Do all of her fine lines, laugh lines, and crow's feet all express an inner beauty, a softness, a kindness that is unnatural beauty can never express? Because behind his facade are eyes that have seen too much that cannot be hid, that exudes itself from his very pores, his very soul, rotting him from the inside out. An apple whose peel hides the bruising that you didn't know is there until teeth break through the skin, tongue being affronted by the brown, mushy flesh underneath, pulpy and tasteless. All the sweet juiciness that tongue and lips look for expectantly, having been stolen by the rottenness that comes from being abused. Dorian Gray is only a rotten, deceptive, poisonous fruit, the gift that the wicked queen gives to Snow White. Jealous of beauty, a theme. Ironic that she wanted only to gaze at herself in the mirror while he hides his true likeness, both beholden to a frame. And what of his imaginary wife? For a man who himself the literary figure, would the wife of Dorian Gray be immune to jealousies? Or would she in fact be filled with contempt for all the darkness he has brought into her life? Puritan or slave to passion, poison or insusceptible, the wife of Dorian Gray, who would she be?
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. So I have some questions for you, if you don't mind, before someone else pops in. Do you ever do any public speaking?
Yes.
And what have you spoke about, if you don't mind asking?
So I have been speaking since the first time I spoke to 1,000 people, I was 16.
Wow.
And so I have spoken in church groups my whole life. I worked for Greenpeace in my early 20s, and I did school talks. And so I would be presenting to groups of students from grade 3 all the way up to university and other public organizations, talking about the environment. I used to speak at John schools, the prostitution offender program, speaking to men who had been arrested, talking about the impact of prostitution on communities, speaking at the police conventions and town halls, speaking about the issue of First Nation communities and the need for awareness of what's happening up in areas such as Saskatchewan. And then I now am a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, and I speak to parents. I'm a Grace and Ease caregiving specialist. So I provide loving, faith-based support to moms whose kids are fighting for their lives.
I can tell that you're very well spoken, and thank you for all that you do. I know if anyone wants to follow you on Instagram, if you want to put your account on the chat, that would be great for anyone. I know that you do a lot of meditation. If you want to talk a little bit about that, what you do each day, because I see you. So if you want to talk about that.
The reason that I am a Grace and Ease caregiving specialist, supporting specifically cancer moms, is because my own daughter had cancer. And when we went through that journey, I needed to find things to help me cope. And I stumbled across Qigong, which is a moving meditation. And this last year, I actually became an instructor. And so I have been sharing on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook little videos. I'm beginning a class next Wednesday to cancer moms, doing an hour of Qigong with them. And it's a beautiful way to just get centered. And there's soft, gentle, easy movements. And I find it's actually, Qigong is kind of between Tai Chi and Kung Fu. And it's very healing and very meditative. And I find it's easier than Tai Chi because they're just short movements. And so I spend a minute every day, and I post a video on TikTok and Instagram of one of the postures that I've been doing.
Amazing. And are you working on anything currently that you want to share with us?
I think I've shared sort of the things that I'm doing. We're looking to build apps, and I have a podcast as well for cancer parents. It's called Hope, Strength, and Courage. So that is my Instagram and TikTok is both. It's hope.strength.courage, and that's the same name for the podcast. So
that's great. Put them in the chat when you have a moment, please. If anybody wants to look you up or has any questions for you. Does anyone have any questions for Laura right now? No. Usually people typically wait till the end and we have a big discussion, but thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you and see your face and listen to you read. It was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our next reader is Marilo Nunez from Hamilton. Hi, Marilo.
Hello.
Hi. Marilo Nunez is a Chilean-Canadian playwright, director, actor, and academic. She was the 2018 recipient of the Hamilton Arts Awards for Established Theater Artist and was recently nominated for the Joanne Metcalf Performing Arts Prize. She is the 2021-22 playwright in residence at Aluna Theatre in Toronto and was a member of Natural Resources Factory Theatre's Playwrights Unit for Established Writers in 2019. She was playwright in residence at Aluna Theatre in 2016 and was McMaster University's first playwright in residence in 2018. She is the only Canadian workshop facilitator using the Fornes method to teach playwriting at theaters and universities across the country. She was founding artistic director of Alameda, Theater Company, a company dedicated to developing the new work of Latinx Canadian playwrights. She has an MFA in creative writing from University of Guelph and is currently obtaining her PhD in theater and performance studies at York University. Yay! Welcome. What are you reading for us tonight?
So I'm going to read the beginning of a play that I wrote during my MFA. It's a play called Inquest. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory as I read, but it's based on the true story of a young boy named James Baldwin, who was starved to death by his grandmother in Toronto. So here I go. It's
All right.
not a comedy.
That's okay. Whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Inquest. Scene 1. What are we all doing here? A courtroom. The audience sits inside the courtroom, framed by a wooden enclosure. All around them are 4 blank walls. On the left corner of the room is a dirty mattress and a small blanket. On the right-hand side of the room, a camera on a tripod and nothing else. The sound of a young boy laughing fills the space, and we are alive. A chorus enters the courtroom. It is made up of 4 jury members who will be part of the court proceedings that follow. They sit and stand amongst the audience. The coroner enters and stands facing the center wall between the mattress and the video camera. Suddenly projected all around us, a video image of Callie, a young woman in her early 20s facing us. She is in an empty room alone. Mercedes, a woman in her mid-60s, enters the courtroom, passing the coroner and walking to the center of the room where the witness stand is, situated in the middle of the audience. She speaks to the coroner. In my country, a grandmother is respected. She sits. Everything goes dark except for a spotlight on the dirty mattress in the corner. A young boy, Jeffrey, 5 years old, and his older sister, young Callie, 6 years old, are sitting on a mattress staring out into nothing. The sound of a lock turning and the children huddle closer to one another. Young Callie takes out a book from underneath the mattress. Lights shift and a new moment is shown. Jeffrey laughs as young Callie tries to guess the words to the game. It starts with a T and ends with a tomato. You have to let me finish. Toenail. They both laugh hysterically. Let me finish, let me finish. She tickles him. Laughter fills the space. We are alive. Okay, stop. I can't breathe. Let's play superheroes. Yeah, I'll be Cyclops and you be Superman. You're always Superman. Be someone else. I don't want to be anyone else. I want to be Superman. But why can't you be someone else for once? Makes the game funner. No, Superman. Come on, how about Wolverine? Furry and claws like knives. Superman. Incredible Hulk, green, and Superman. How? Superman. Fine. He stands and she wraps a pillowcase around his neck like a cape. He begins flying all over the room. But don't tire yourself out. I am Superman. He is running in and around the audience in circles. He begins to cough. He finally flops down on the mattress on the floor and tries to catch his breath. See? You need to slow down. I can't breathe. Breathe like this. Breathe. Come on, breathe. She takes the cape off of him and rubs his back. He is trying desperately to catch his breath. The 4 jury members stand and face the coroner. It's not enough to just absorb the details of this case. Your job as the jury is to go deeper. Every detail is a key, and your understanding of the case is crucial to make recommendations. Any questions? The chorus jury members raise their right hands. The chorus. A young boy is found dead at a home in downtown Toronto on November 20th, 2002. Police say the boy was found lying on the kitchen table wrapped in blankets while his grandmother stood in the background and watched as the paramedics took him away. How old was the boy? He looked like he was maybe 2 years old. In the photo, he looks 2. It says here he was just shy of his 6th birthday. He weighed less than a 1-year-old. Cause of death, starvation. They sit. The image of Callie, now a young woman, is projected all around us. She stares out at us. Her eyes then turn to the mattress in the corner. Scene 2. Jeffrey and young Callie are reading a book. Callie. And the rabbit hid inside the pot. He was shaking, hoping that the farmer would not find him. He waited quietly, listening for any. But why does the farmer want to catch Peter? He thinks he's going to eat all of his vegetables, I guess. He's hungry though. Why doesn't the farmer just give him some carrots? I guess he's a mean farmer. Very mean farmer. I don't like this story. Read me another one. This is the only one we got. Read me another. Jeffrey, we don't have another one. I want another one. Shh, they'll hear us. But why can't Peter have a carrot? Because it's not fair. Shift to present day, the courtroom. Mercedes sits in the witness box facing the coroner. Mercedes. My day begins with lists and lists of things that need to get done. By 7 in the morning, I already have a list as long as my arm. And then the phone ringing, computer buzzing, and the endless meetings. We must work harder, be more diligent than anyone else, because we have to save as many of them as we can. Shift back to the past, the bedroom. Jeffrey and young Callie are facing the door. Jeffrey, but I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to go, please. I gotta go to school. Otherwise we'll both be in trouble. But I promise I'll be back real soon. I swear, Jeffy. Pinky swear? Pinky swear. They lock pinky fingers, shift back to the courtroom. It's impossible for me to explain the fatigue that hits you. By end of day, I can't see straight. The chorus stands and surrounds us, facing us. The following scene blends both past and present, and the scenes overlap one another. Chorus. Weapons, wars, climates changing, raging dreams, slanted snowfalls, and unapologetic rain. Nothing is alive in me, and everything is coming to an end. She speaks as though she believes what she is saying. She speaks as though we should feel sorry. We all have busy lives, and yet I'm always saying to them, you have to do better. Otherwise, how will you ever get out of the system? The system is broken. And what is better for them? I don't know. Jury 3. I walk a line, Mercedes. Some of them are children themselves, having children. How does one fix that? I don't think you can understand it until you are in it. And even then, chorus, we walk the line towards our end. We walk crashing into our own demise. The earth shifts and tumbles towards its untimely fall, and inside, I came into this business because I wanted to help those who can't help themselves. I'm not trying to make myself out to be a martyr, but I know what loss is. I know what it is to lose a son. Jury 1. And in the middle, a ball so furious, so full of raging heat. Coroner. This boy died. Jury 3. A fire molting its fingerprints onto the depths of our souls. Yes. Burning, searing your image into me. Jeffrey. Can I come too, please? He begins to cough uncontrollably. Young Callie holds his hand until it stops. Takes a long time and he is weak from the effort. He lies down and closes his eyes. Chorus. And in that indescribable noise, a silence, a softness, and we waited, we watched. We emptied ourselves of rancor in order to keep walking one more day into that silence. A grandmother is the center, the central force that shapes the family. Her heart, her warmth keeps us alive. Tell me, isn't that how it is here in Canada? Chorus. And everything is coming to an end. Young Callie places a small blanket on her brother and then picks up her backpack. She goes to the door and knocks. The sound of a door unlocking. Blackout. Scene 3. The video image of Callie, now in her early 20s, comes up all around us. Her eyes dominate the screen and she is looking right into us. A voice speaks to her off camera. Can you speak into the microphone so that we can pick up the levels? Hello? Hello? Thank you, that's great. Now, Callie, I want you to be as comfortable as possible for this. Can I get you some water? Yes, thank you. A water bottle appears in front of her. She opens it and takes a sip. Great. Okay. We're ready to begin. Ready when you are. And please, Callie, take as much time as you need. Okay, thank you. I can tell that it's the day because of how my bones begin to hurt. You see, my body is not used to being free. So I'm lying on my couch, trying not to think about the pain. And of course, I have the dreams. I call them dreams, even though I'm awake and they really feel more like nightmares. I'm breathing on the edge of my skin as the images begin to take over my body. Paralysis. It takes over my whole body. Then I am back in that room. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be here. But I'm transported into that stinking house. A blue bowl, the dampness of the mattress, random things. Still to this day, and I always see his face so clearly. I can actually see his grown-up face. It's the first time I've ever been able to do that. All the other times I see him as he was when he was 5. But this day I see him as a young man, as the person he should have been. And the pain in my bones gets stronger and I'm finding it hard to breathe, but his face makes me feel better. Somehow he is making me feel calm. When we were kids, there was so much going on. We never really felt calm. It was always chaos, never calm. It was so, I don't know, desperate all the time. But I keep seeing his face more and more. The dreams keep coming more and more. And so I agreed to talk with you because I want to. Her eyes and her face are furiously trying to find the words. The image fades. Shift. The coroner enters the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury stands. The chorus. Yellowing walls. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, as he lay on the edge. And in that silence we watched as he took his last breath. Today we are going to make amends. And in that silence, a softness began. We waited, we watched. It's the system. I can't be expected to fix the whole system. I'm just one woman. We are going to make things right. The coroner faces every single person in the audience. Look at yourselves. I want you to take a really good look, because for the next few weeks and months, we will be examining a system that failed Jeffrey Baldwin. We are responsible for this system, all of us. Take a good look. What do you see? We can see ourselves. We're all here until we figure it all out. Please stand. The coroner motions for everyone to rise. The play will not go on until everyone is standing. Coroner. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, members of the community, family members, this inquest is now in session. Please raise your right hands. You will swear to the best of your ability to hold an objective heart in this room. The journey ahead will not be easy. I will guide you as best as I can, but ultimately, whatever decisions and recommendations you make, they must come from you. Be open, be smart, be truthful. Let's give this little boy a reason for his short life. You may sit. Let's proceed. The coroner motions for all to sit. The sound of children laughing and playing fills us, and we are broken.
Thank you. I was so into you because I felt like you were like performing everything. And it was so interesting. We were just saying this, that this could be like an HBO special, and we were like totally into it so much. I have a lot of questions for you, but just before we get started with the questions, just so everyone knows that Marilo and I have went to high school together.
Yes, we did.
So we've known each other for a little while. So thank you so much for reading tonight. It was
My pleasure.
why do you prefer theater over everything else?
I've been asking myself this a lot lately. I think it's because dialogue gets to the core of, it's like a very active way of telling a story. You know, there's so much subtext behind people's words. And I like drama. I like performance. I like the relationship between a live audience and the performance. And I like the collaborative nature of theater, because it's not just me writing a play. It then kind of goes into the hands of the director and the actors, and then ultimately into the relationship with the audience. So I like that whole kind of symbiotic, collaborative thing that theater is.
And now that have been during this COVID pandemic time, how has this affected you? Because
yeah, it's been really hard for my industry. A lot. You know, a lot of artists are out of work. A lot of companies are having to reevaluate how they do work, and I think it's been actually a good time to do that, to reevaluate how we create work in this country, because there is still a lot of inequity in my industry. You know, there's a lot of racism, a lot of things that need to change. So it's been good to take that time to think about how we want to do theater once we get back to it. But I have been enjoying radio dramas, actually.
What are you listening to?
There's 2 podcasts. One is called Play Me on CBC, and they do plays. They reenact plays in audio format. And then Radio Aluna Theater, they do Latinx plays on an audio format. And actually, one of my plays will be created for a radio podcast for May.
Oh, that's fantastic. Are you going to be part of that audio or no?
Yeah, I'm going to be performing one of the.
Oh, good. I know you just, and everything since we were so young, you were so passionate about like anything. You will fight, you will speak your mind. Like she is an amazing person. I know that in my heart.
Oh, thank you, Joanne.
The most passionate people I've ever known in my life. Are you working on anything now, like aside from writing? Like, is there any other projects that you're doing?
I am working on another play called Foxy, Tales of an Urban Zorra, and it explores Latina stereotypes and sexuality.
Interesting. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. And you're also a mom to amazing girls. Yeah. So you are awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to put any contact information or website that you have in the chat, and if anyone has any questions for Marilo, please feel free to ask her. So our last reader of the evening is my brother. I put you last only because you asked.
I didn't ask.
You did. You said, when am I reading? So
Oh, well.
Last. Just to make you wait it out.
All right.
Hey, so this is my brother, Dan Osterbook. He is currently residing in Burlington, Ontario. Dan O, as he is commonly referred to, did not begin writing until his 5th decade of existence. He enjoys writing as he has provided creative ways to express his thoughts, feelings, and general observations of life. Plus, he finds it ironically therapeutic. It is his hope that one day in the far future, his name will be mentioned along with other literary guests such as Shakespeare, Tolstoy, Poe, Thompson, and Callaghan. He does not have a website or participates on social media, nor does he care to. However, should you feel the need to offer your praise and undying commitment to the cult of Danomania, you may contact his agent, sister, and fellow writer, that's me. So feel free to do so. Anyways, what are you reading for us tonight, my brother?
All right. Today, can everybody hear me all right? I'm going to do a sampling of some of the poetry I've been writing over the last year or so. You know, some stuff about self-reflection, social commentary, love and love lost, and some just plain silliness. So I think we'll start with the sad and serious and move our way up to the happy and silly stuff. So this first one is something I call Suffer in My Silence. It was just over a year ago when we last saw each other, and everything seemed okay. But then I got stood up and blocked from your life without warning or reason, and I really don't know why. I've speculated and pondered to no end as to what led you to this choice. Was I too overzealous in my admiration of you, or was I too aloof and indifferent? I'm certainly capable of acting either way. Did I scare you off, or maybe you were scared of your own feelings? I really can't say. So I just shrug it off as I usually do. Figured time would make you go away. After all, out of sight, out of mind. Yet here we are, months and months later, and you still are occupying my thoughts, just as much now as back then, and it bothers me to no end. So I've been thinking about it, and I came to realize something profound. You were the first person in a long time I felt wanting to take a real interest in. You awoke something in me. I thought long dormant or even dead. Now I'm awake, and you're still in my head. Often I think about calling you, or even sending you a text to say hi and ask if you're okay. However, my history will show that no matter what decision I make, it always blows up in my face. So I don't do anything and suffer in my silence. That's the first one. The next one is called An Honest Look. I'm pretty sure I've lost the art of conversation, or how to enter, look around, and read the room. And lately, being around people causes me anxiety, makes me want to hide in a closet and talk to a broom. I wasn't always this way. I was quite the people person. I talk with anyone, anytime, anywhere. And yes, many times I put my foot in my mouth, most of the time never realizing it was even there. I was once healthy, happy, and with a sense of purpose and clarity. I parachuted out of airplanes, scaled cliff walls, and wrestled professionally too. I've had failures and setbacks as well. But as a great man once said, never let a lack of knowledge keep you from doing what you should do. I often get asked why I never married, had kids, or settled down. If I'm to be true, if I'm to be honest with you completely, a healthy dose of immaturity, selfishness, poor judgment, and failure. Certainly a recipe, wouldn't you say, for a catastrophe. For a long time, I questioned who or what is to blame. For many years, growing more bitter, withdrawn, and angry. Then one day I looked into the mirror and saw my answer, that my life alone is my own responsibility. Now I have to admit, I haven't done much with my life in the last 20 years or so, but it isn't all bleak. I'm finally figuring out who I am and what I want to be. I am finding a voice and getting ready to speak. I'm on a new journey of self-discovery at a new stage of my life. Better late than never. So be happy, be patient, and be nice. It's all that I'm asking of you, and you soon may discover. I'm actually a pretty decent guy and cooler than ice. All right, this next one is called Eat the Rich. There's a large expanding chasm in our society. Started way, way back when we created money. I don't want to complain, whine, or bitch, but maybe it's time to grab a fork and eat the rich. Allow me to explain why I feel this way. The upper class continue to get rich each day. Every morning I go to work in a dirty factory, manufacturing knickknacks for a huge corporate entity. Each payday I get a case of the blues. I can barely pay the bills and my kids have holes in their shoes. Banks and governments never cared about the little guy. I can't offer them prestige, power, or a bigger slice of the pie. And when I go to them for help, or some sort of grant, they look at my lack of assets and say, sorry, we can't. So I work 2 jobs to save off the mounting debt. My wife and kids never see me and fills me with regret. I read about CEOs entitled to their colossal bonus. Taking credit for our work and broken backs is so bogus. I get grief if I need time off to take care of my family. Meanwhile, they jet off to the Cayman Islands in luxury. My wife works weekends. I stay at home with the children in a small 2-room apartment in a rundown building. Sports figures and acting celebrities making the big money for playing games I enjoyed as a youth seems pretty crummy. To afford to take my kids to see them ply their talent, I have to save for 2 years straight, much to my lament. My kids struggle in school and have shitty part-time jobs. I'm losing my hair, my back aches, and my head always throbs. There's a large expanding chasm in our society. It started way, way back when we created money. I don't want to seem ungrateful, whine, or bitch, but maybe it's time to grab a fork and eat the rich. All right, so this next one, just hold on a sec. Pretty self-explanatory from the title. It is called What It Would Be Like to Date a Porn Star. What would it be like to date a porn star? I wonder indeed. I imagine she would be a beauty, that much is obvious. But what about her personality, her interests, her beliefs, intelligence, and general life philosophies? And would any of that matter to me? How would I cope with her job after a long day when she's feeling all drained and spent? Would I really want to know how her day went? And when she asks me about my day, I think for a moment, what could I ever possibly say? What about the appearances and conventions with all those fans all clamoring for a photo with their hands on her cans? Do I resist the temptation to jump on a table and shout, stop wherever you are, leave and go find your own porn star? Or do I just take this shit? Because let's face it, you're dating a porn star, so deal with it. What about my own insecurities? Could I rise to the occasion? Could I fulfill her desires and needs? Would size matter? Because if it does, well, let's just hope size doesn't matter. And what about her fantasies? A woman with her vast experience. How could I hope to even compete? Because after about 2 minutes, that's it. I'm done, snoring, sound asleep. There is one other thing now for the elephant in the room, and I don't mean to be a cad, but I mean, come on, let's face it. What about all the men she's had? Do I become meek and turn the other cheek? Because let's face it, she's a porn star, so deal with it. And here's another conundrum to ponder. Would I be making love to a porn actress or screwing the person behind the veil? It's 2 sides of the same body, but does it matter? I'm still getting some tail. Would we have to have an open relationship? It's not like it isn't already. What she does for a living. How do we deal with our families and friends? How could I deal with that arrangement? Hey, wait a moment. She has friends. Now, what about her future? Could it even last? Does she want to get married and raise a family? And when the kids get older and they ask about mom's past, knowing this was coming, I'd get weak in the knees. I'd say, talk to your mother about the birds and the bees. I take this shit because that's who you are. I thought it would be more of a blast to date a porn star. All right, and this last one is another little fun one. I call it Bust a Nut. Sometimes when you feel you've lost your will and every day seems like a constant battle uphill, you're awash in confusion and stuck in a rut. Just remember, sometimes you gotta bust a nut. When you're feeling tired and frustrated and unplanned events leaving you castrated, your problems and worries are coming to a glut. Hey man, sometimes you just gotta bust a nut. When bills need to be paid and finances are tight, you work your ass off just to make things right. Your paycheck is like a punch in the gut. Just go off, find some space, and bust a nut. When all the love in the world is making you stressed, and all the hate is leaving you damn depressed, your head reeling from an emotional uppercut, Well, sometimes you need to just bust a nut. When you're feeling depressed and all alone, when you'd really like somebody to bone, just some good old-fashioned night of smut, might as well go bust a nut. So I've come to the end of my story, and make no mistake, I'm not looking for glory. I just hope my poem makes the cut. But right now, I gotta go bust a nut. Thank you very much.
I don't know
Okay, so
about
last-
I don't know about anybody else, but I need a shot right now.
I'm sorry. Last time you read, he made me cry because it was so emotional. Now I'm like crying because it was so funny. I love that so much. I mean, the ones before were very emotional, but thank you for making me laugh because I think we all need
You're
for
welcome.
sure.
That was the intent.
That's my brother, everybody. Thank you.
You're
Anyway,
welcome.
that was good. It was good. I need it. Okay, so aside from writing poetry, are you gonna put a book together or what?
Yes, I'm hoping to self-publish my first book sometime later this year, hopefully by my
Perfect.
birthday, which is at the end of August. And I am working on 2 scripts right now. One I'm about 2/3 of the way through. The other one I'm still working on early. And so we'll see how that goes. And I've got an idea for a book I want to try out as well. So
Oh, what's that? If you don't mind.
it's more of a social commentary. Carolyn will appreciate this. My other sister, Corey Taylor. That's all I have to mention. She'll understand. But if any of you know who Corey Taylor is and have read any of his stuff, you'll understand.
I think I saw a hand there for you. So anyone has any questions for Dion? No? No? Okay. One other question for you.
Sure.
I'm not maybe not everyone knows your history on here, what you went to school for, which was theater and film.
Yeah.
You were a wrestler, so that's true. Do you plan to go back to any sort of acting or film
I would actually like
or
to
theater?
I would
You
like
were in
to do
theater
theater
too.
again. I did a lot of theater when I was
You did
younger,
do a lot of theater.
and I'd like to try that again. And
There's somebody on here who does theater, Marilo, just saying. Anyways, okay, great. Well, we're going to open up the floor now. If anyone has any questions for any of the readers tonight, go for it. Anything you got? There we go. Anita.
I noticed that Laura was on TikTok, and I know that you have a lot of wonderful meditative, but my favorite one was when your cat attacked you. It just made my day. So sometimes you have to be prepared for the things that aren't you're expecting to happen. So I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, Anita.
Awesome.
Dan and Joanne, are you going to do something together, or have you done a project together? I mean, brother and sister that write, would you be able to make something together? That would be really cool.
I think we
Maybe.
could do something together.
I think we could do something. Yeah. I read
know.
one of his scripts that he's working on so far. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, no, I would do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. I think we could actually come up with something pretty.
Actually, now that we are talking about that, my brother and my sister and I actually came up with a movie at my grandmother's funeral, or my grandfather's funeral. 3 babas and a dead Polak, which is probably not appropriate right now, but we have a Polish background. So
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually got in trouble because we were having too much.
Wait, didn't we change? No, I thought we changed that to the Polak and the 99 Babas.
I don't know, but there was a lot of Polish grandmas or babas.
Because it was the only one of Kaya's friends left.
I don't know, but that was a good story we had going. We were.
I'm in.
You're
I'm
in? Yeah. I mean, we had a good time.
I come
Remember we
from a
got.
Mennonite background, so and the Polish, I got it.
There you go.
And before we wind up, maybe we say something about the readers next month.
Yeah, I have them right here. So we've bumped up some people and moved some people around because next month is going to be our last month, and I'm actually going to do a giveaway. So if anyone wants to contribute to anything, any of the past readers we have or our readers this evening to put in that's great. But we'll have a couple of my books in there and some other goodies. So anyone that attends next month will be part of the draw. And next month we have Michael Williams, as always, Amanda Nova, June Cupido, Laura Sims, Suzanne Birchall, and we're going to bring Les Boehm and maybe Lily Lachesi if since she couldn't read tonight. So we'll have a bigger night hopefully next month for you. Thanks, guys. It was fun tonight.
Thank you.
The date in
Thanks,
April.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Night. Take care. You
What's
guys
the
are
date in
hilarious.
April?
Hold
It's
on.
at April 17th.
17th, yeah.
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 Perfect.
Okay.
Bye,
Good night.
Amanda.
Good night, Amanda.
Bye, Laura. Nice
Bye,
to
Laura.
see you.